Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Stock. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Today I would like to talk about some of the areas in the stock market where we saw a lot of green and a lot of good news, and then some of the areas where we saw a lot of red and a lot of bad news recently, and we'll talk about some of the reasons why I think that's happening. So I want to keep this video short for you, so without further ado, let's get ready to rock. Welcome back. If you would please, down in the description is a link for my Patreon if you're interested in the stocks that I'm invested in. I have my growth portfolio available over there, a dividend portfolio, a newsletter that also features a weekly watch list, and I recently started a patron shout out. So that goes to the people who are in the Patreon, in the Discord, in the Patreon, in the Discord, that have called out stocks, and then we took a look at them, and those have done really well, at least in the short term, if not the long term. We'll have to see how that plays out over time. I have somebody for you today. I'm excited to share that with you. Again, that link for the Patreon is down in the description. Click the link, see what it's about, see if you're interested, and if so, sign up. I'd love to have you there. Also down in the description is a link for Webull. By signing up and depositing $100, you get 2 free stocks. I get 2 free stocks for the referral. The stocks that you get are valued anywhere from $10.50 up to $1,850. So might as well give it a shot. It's free money coming your way, and it's a platform. I use it in my videos, I use it in some of my trading, and I think that you'll enjoy it as well. Again, that link is down in the description. Finally, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, share with your friends. Let's get on to the stocks. For my first stock, I have to start off by giving a shout out to Otto over in the Discord. He said, last week, Dr. Stock, what do you think of this stock, SANP? So I checked it out and I said, well, it's a tiny one. I don't know if I would really put that investment in or not. But at this point in time, I think it's at least interesting, especially with the DNA tags. If you want to read about it, there's not a lot of information that's out there so far, but it is something that Otto, when he mentioned it, he said, you know, I really like this. I really think that this could have some legs moving forward. He said, I think it could take a long time. I don't know if there's anything that we'll see a lot of immediate action on. And, well, we actually saw some immediate action. So thank you, Otto. It was spectacular to hear from you. And I've heard from a lot of different Patreons, and I've heard from a lot of different patrons in the Discord mentioning a lot of different stocks. This was one, since I started offering to feature my patrons who want to make these calls, and upon their permission, this is one that he put out there. And so I appreciate it. Thanks again. And for anybody else who wants to read into this company, you may go ahead and do so. Today it had a monster of a day. By market close, it was up over 118%. I put a small bid in on Friday and just took a small position, and then today I was able to sell to break even, and I told Otto, I said, hey, you know what, I'm just going to let the rest ride. We'll see where it goes. I'll take that ride with you. And it's something that he's excited about, and it's something that, you know, I'm willing to see where it goes. And while I wouldn't stand by this company because I just don't know enough about it, it's at least one that I'm willing to read more about the DNA tags and see what they have to say for, I believe it's about security and validation is what it is, and it's blockchain technology. I read at least that much about it. So you could also do that reading, do your research and due diligence, whatever you can dig up. And if you find something interesting, you know, you can say it in the comments, or if you're over at the Patreon or within the Discord, you can also share it over there. That would be phenomenal. Let's move on to some of the other stocks. So if we look at some of the airline stocks, for example, like American Airlines had an awesome day today. So hearing about the stimulus news and hearing about the recovery news from COVID-19, a lot of the different stocks for travel have benefited from this. American Airlines, and it doesn't even stop here. I can look at some of the other ones. I can go to Delta. They also had a great day. I could go to United Airlines. They also had a great day. JetBlue, you name it, whichever airline stock, just go ahead and pick it out, and you can see that they really had a boost from the COVID-19 data that's coming out that says that's showing signs of weakening of the pandemic, which means that we might be getting back with the positive vaccine news and everything, that we could be getting back to a little bit more normalcy and better travel. So the airline industry is certainly not back up to where it was. So if you're looking for an investment opportunity, you might still be able to find it with these airline stocks. Go ahead and take your pick. I really like Delta. I really like American Airlines as well. You guys can go through and pick out the ones that you think are the best if they're ones that you're interested in looking at. Just a quick look at Hilton, just because it's not an airline but more of a hotel service that we have here. And you can see that they also had a good day. So this is really going across all the different stocks, even Disney. Disney had a great day. You can see that it was kind of sputtering out, and then all of a sudden it ripped up on the news that we have, hopefully getting people back into their parks and everything. So some of where the money's going is into these travel stocks that we have, or the ones that where there's pent-up demand. And there's a lot of people talking about the pent-up demand. I've mentioned it before. People just chomping at the bit to travel. I can tell you, between in my family, we're just dying to get out and travel again. And you know, with the vaccines being even more widespread, hopefully we get back to that sense of normalcy and that safety, and that feeling of safety for travel sooner than later. I know that we'd both love to get back to that part of our lives, and I don't think that we're alone in that. There were a lot of other sectors that were up today: coal, oil and gas related equipment and services, metals, hotel and entertainment services. We saw a little bit of that, insurance, consumer goods. So even though there was a lot of red in the market, there was also a fair amount of places where you could find those greens, and that's because the money is shifting right now from the growth stocks that we saw through the height of the pandemic into the battered stocks, the beaten stocks, the ones that have been waiting for that economic strength to return. And then speaking of the economy, something that's been bugging the economy, or at least the stock market lately, is the inflation fears and the treasury yields that we're talking about. They're just hampering the growth that we have in some of the areas within the stock market, and it's really causing, I know my growth portfolio took a pretty good hit. It's still up a lot. I think I'm still up over 43% on that, but I was up closer to 50, and I kind of felt like that was going to pull back a little. I was hoping it wasn't as much as it has so far, but I think that we'll see a little bit of settling. And if we took a look at the markets, when you take a look at the markets, the Dow Jones is, I think, one of two worldwide that was up today. The S&P was down about 0.75%. The NASDAQ really took a hit, the negative 2.46%. Tech stocks really getting drugged through the mud on that one. And like I said, a lot of the growth stocks are also being pulled back down into more reasonable levels from what we saw at their highs. I think that we'll have some strength return to those, but right now we're going to see that money go into those value stocks, especially as we continue to get good news. When the stimulus money comes out, I think that we'll see a lot of strength in the market in general, that there will be a lot of green. And if it's a stock that's extra volatile, it'll take the red days very red a lot of times, and it'll take the green days very green. As long as you're well diversified, you shouldn't be really suffering, but you know, you will have these days where you have red days in the market versus green days in the market. If we look at these on longer time frames, maybe up to the 6 month, for example, or even if we go out to the 1 year for the Dow Jones, you can see that not much has happened. Even if we look at the S&P, which is red today, and it's had a couple of red days in a row, we've dipped off, but we're still on that bullish trend that we have, that so far there isn't any sort of correction that's happened yet. And with the stimulus money coming out, I think that's something that will stave off any sort of major market correction in the near future. Even the NASDAQ that took it the hardest today out of the big three, you can see that that was quite a dip that trailed off at the end of the year if we look at the 1 year chart. But we've had lots of dips that have gone along the way. This is just another instance of coming back down. You can't have green days every day, and so here's just some more red in the markets as that money shifts around throughout the market. In this case, from the growth stocks over to the more value stocks that we would have. So just a few stock updates, because people have been asking me about these in the comments, and I like to read the comments. I don't always get a chance to get back to everybody because there's a lot of them, but people are saying, you know, what's going on with ZOM, what's happening with ZOM. And Zomedica, I believe it's March 30th is when they come out with their, is when the device hits the shelves or something like that. I'm not the best read on this one, but as far as I can tell, there hasn't really been any major news. It's just, it is one of those growth stock plays, and the growth stocks are taking it hard right now, and I don't think that Zomedica is immune to that. So ZOM, their product, it could still be promising. They could still be after, I think, what, if I can go, it's been weeks since I looked at this, but it was like a $2.4 or $2.9 billion market opportunity that they are hoping to impact or penetrate. And right now they would have a very small portion of that, and hoping to grow within that industry for the pet products that they make in order to have less invasive diagnoses and treatment for animals. Again, you guys that are probably better experts than I am in this one. This is one that I liked the product when I read about it, but I didn't go into a lot of detail on the company. So it doesn't mean that the promise isn't there. It doesn't mean that a lot has changed about the company. Growth stocks in general, especially tiny ones like Zomedica, are certainly no exception to that. When you look at SENS, again, we see that quick spike up when we look at the daily chart here, and it's trailing off just like Zomedica did. Again, it's affecting all the stocks like this. It doesn't mean that we have terrible news about SENS and their Eversense CGM technology. I'm a little bit better studied on this company. I still really like their product. Again, I've said multiple times over, because I keep getting comments about why would I want to do this every 90 days. I like their 365-day product. One procedure once a year, and especially if they get the calibration settled, that they only have to recalibrate that subcutaneous device for the people with type 1 or type 2 diabetes for monitoring their glucose. Having to calibrate it once a week, or I don't know, you guys, I don't have type 1 or type 2. I have family members who do. I would like to hear what you guys think is a reasonable number of calibrations by the finger sticks. Tattooed Chef, they've taken it pretty rough recently, falling down to $21.38 per share. I thought for sure back in this area that they would have had a little bit more strength in their stock price, and it just traded sideways for a while, which I'm okay watching it trade sideways, especially being a growth stock that I plan to be invested in for long term, 1 year to 3 years to 5 years, depending on the performance of the company over that time. When I see the price like this, again, it's a growth stock opportunity. They put out preliminary Q4 and fiscal year results, and to me, those numbers are looking pretty good, that they're showing a lot of year-over-year growth, and that even per quarter that they're showing growth over the quarter. And their financials, I think that they report on February the 25th, so you might want to fact check that one. They did announce when that earnings date is, and they announced the official earnings, so you might want to take a look at that. That is coming up soon, and I really like that they're expanding their product line, and that they're in a lot of stores across the country, and I think that they're going to do a lot with the different market penetration that they have. They're sort of like Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat has 6 times the market cap, I believe, that Tattooed Chef does, somewhere around like 9-ish billion. This is about 1.6-ish billion or 1.9-ish billion. Tattooed Chef does a little bit different business than Beyond Meat does, so I don't know that they're necessarily directly competitors or that they're even close competitors, but I know that sometimes that they get compared to each other. But Beyond Meat is down, and Tattooed Chef, also being somewhat in that same area, also tends to be down with it. Alright, so let me summarize. Travel stocks, they had a really great day today, and as we continue to come out of the pandemic and as people feel safer about traveling, we're going to see that rise in the stocks. We're going to see that strength come back to those companies, and as they report really good numbers, we're going to see that as catalysts in their prices as well. Other value stocks, prices that have been hampered by the pandemic, I think that people are also moving to those companies with their money, and that's taking the money from the growth stocks, and so it's just shifting around to a different part of the market. So if you're well diversified, you should see that price come into the market. I know for my growth stocks, there's not too many of my growth stocks that are in that value stock territory as well, so I've noticed a lot of contraction. I've lost probably about 7% since the market turned red over these past 5 days or so, and you know, it doesn't always feel that fun. Again, I'm up money overall, but it's really the value stocks where we're going to see a lot of that growth, or where we have seen a lot of the green recently in the market. As the price goes up for those value stocks and they become less of value and more fair market value, and as we have a depressed price in those growth stocks, I believe that the money will come back around to the growth stocks, and I think we'll get a new wave, a new push towards those, especially in light of the news of the stimulus money, the 1.9 trillion. If we get that coming out, that's going to lift the entire market, and I think we're going to see lots and lots of green during those days, especially the demand for the growth stocks, I think, could really benefit, especially if they reacted in a really volatile way to the recent market news. That's what I have for you today. So if you would like to check out my Patreon, the link's down in the description. If you want to sign up for Webull and deposit your $100 to get your 2 free stocks, that link is also down in the description. Thanks in advance for that. Finally, and if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Remember, this video is for entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research and your due diligence. Contact a financial advisor before making any financial decisions. I'm Dr. Stock. Thanks for rocking with me. Now go get that money.